Hey, what's going on, guys? It is Raj here, and today we are going to be testing out the speakers between the 2018 13-inch MacBook Pro and the 2020 11-inch iPad Pro. So we're just going to kind of be comparing them in terms of sound quality, volume, bass, etc. And let me just show you guys here, too, that we're going to be first testing them out at 50% volume. So as you can see there, the iPad's at 50% volume, and same thing with the MacBook. And it is also on the iPad here at 80% brightness, and on the MacBook is actually at full brightness because the iPad actually gets brighter than the MacBook. So I had to tone down the brightness on here a little bit so it's not as glary on the camera. But we are first going to start out with the MacBook. And I'm just going to play like a 20-second clip of this. Okay, that's where we will pause it there. So, pretty impressive so far with the MacBook. Now let's test it on the iPad. Alright, so about the, at least so far from what I've heard, I think the MacBook has a little bit more volume to it, but overall, honestly, I will say that the bass is pretty good between the two. But anyway, let's continue. Let's actually now, with the MacBook, let's go through the entire song. Sorry about that interruption, guys. Anyway, let's continue. Alright, so that was the MacBook at 50% volume. So now let's test it on the iPad. Alright, and then that was the iPad Pro. So now we are going to do another test, but this time the volume is going to be up all the way on both devices. So let's do that now. And let me just tell you guys right now, if you're headphone users, this is gonna get loud. So I recommend you, turn down your volume. Wow. Alright everyone, that was pretty loud actually. That was the MacBook at 100% volume. I'd say honestly that was super duper loud and probably overkill slightly, but I mean it was still nevertheless interesting to see what it was capable of. So now with that in mind, let's now test out the iPad Pro. So as you guys can see there, the volume is indeed at 100%. So now let's play it on here. Alright guys, that was the iPad Pro at 100% volume. So, in terms of like final conclusions, I would say both devices did a very, very phenomenal job. But if I were to choose one at the end of the day, now this is going to be subjective, of course, but I would choose the MacBook Pro in terms of like let's say you're a very huge like bass fanatic or volume fanatic for that matter, the MacBook Pro easily wins. I mean, it easily had more volume and maybe a little bit more bass here and there, But I will say, though, the iPad Pro, the 2020 model at least, the 11-inch, it's a very, very good contender. And I will explain why. It is a very good contender simply because it has quad speakers. And these quad speakers, I mean, they're no joke, honestly. So I would say in that respect, the MacBook won in some areas, whereas the iPad Pro won in others. Now, if you're looking for a device that's really like compact and still packs great sound, maybe not as great as the MacBook in terms of volume, but if you're looking for great sound and something that's very portable, I would get the iPad Pro with Magic Keyboard by far. It's easily as great as a laptop, and I mean, hey, it's also smaller than the smallest MacBook Pro. Because, for example, this is the 13-inch MacBook Pro. So let me just show you guys the footprint. Now, this is obviously all unrelated, but if I just close down both of these devices here, look at the footprint difference. The iPad is easily a lot smaller, as you guys can clearly tell. But just to also make you guys aware, this is the 11-inch iPad Pro. This is not the 12.9-inch. Now, if you did have the 12.9-inch, it would be roughly about the same size as the MacBook Pro here, but it is indeed the 11-inch model. So in terms of final conclusions, I would say both won in pretty decent areas, actually. But if I were to choose one at the end of the day, I'm the kind of person that actually likes to take their device on the go. So if I were to choose a speaker set, I would definitely choose the iPad Pro. And I'll explain why. And I'd choose that one simply because it has enough volume and it also has enough bass. And it's not like super overpowering like the MacBook, because at times I feel like the MacBook's bass, if it's at like 100% volume and even just volume overall, it's a little overpowering and scary to me. Now, scary meaning that it's a little loud. So I'd say maybe the iPad Pro in that sense is good enough for most professionals out there. But, I mean, don't get me wrong. People also like to use the MacBook Pro as well in terms of its volume. Because, I mean, hey, it has great volume. And some people like having a louder set of speakers. So that's also, I guess, something you can also say that it wins in as well. But let me know, guys, in the comments below if, like, at least, like, what your opinion is on it and, like, which one you would choose. But if I had to choose at the end of the day, I'm sorry, MacBook, I would choose the iPad Pro. Simply because it's a lot more portable. And I'm the kind of guy, again, that likes to take stuff on the go. So, at the end of the... I can't even speak anymore. But at the end of the day, I would, yes, indeed, choose the 2020 11-inch iPad Pro. But that has been the video, so if you guys enjoyed, please be sure to leave a like. Also, comment and subscribe if you're brand new to my channel, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace out, everyone.